So today we are going to discuss about forms. So Angular handle this forms in a better way. In fact, very better way. So the first way of handling the forms is template forms, and second thing is reactive forms. So before going to much details about template forms or reactive forms or template forms, first you have to realize one important thing. Why should we handle forms? What is the need of form handling? So first, form handling would be done by, what do you mean by form handling? For me, I have a different set of examples about form handling. For example, take this case. So I have entered some data. For example, Praveen and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So only then the save button is getting activated. This is one particular part. This is one job we need to perform. So to do the same thing, we have to write lot of code in JavaScript without a second thought. Lot of code. That is one particular part. And second thing is, suppose if I want to reset the complete form, even for that you need to write a lot of code in JavaScript. But in Angular, we have a specific way. We have a different way to create all the uh, all the basic operations with some directives or decorators or this type of, basically here we are doing that entire job with directives and template variables. Okay, so this is an extension of the directives what we have discussed in the past. Am I clear? Am I making sense? So this is what called handling. What do you mean by handling the form? Activating some buttons, deactivating some buttons. This is a very regular use case in every form. I agree should be activated only if I select the checkbox. How do you do that? Again, forms are required. Of course, even for that such a small job, are you really looking for a form? Yes, you can. That's what I'm saying. Yes, you can. But and that is going to be handled in a proper way. For example, I found some commonality when I was in Dubai. It was very difficult to handle the AC remote. The format of AC remote over there is different. But when I went to New Jersey or any American country, there is no difference. Most of the time, uh, the activity is the same. Even in UK, all English speaking countries, most of the English speaking countries have the same format. In India, you can go anywhere and you can operate the same TV same way. 100% it is possible. Even it is in Nagaland or Manipur or Kerala or Jammu Kashmir. Everywhere you have the same TV, same mobile phone, same system. So you need a pattern to follow, so that every developer can have can easily understand the pattern. Suppose you write your own pattern and no one can understand, that doesn't make any sense. Now people are looking into that. Earlier, when I started my career, no one used to check my code. Only testing team used to test it whether it is functionally working. That's the end of the story. But when we submitted this code to some other competitions or something like that, then we realized we were not getting the championships or anything. What happened then? They said your logic is good but your code is not in standard. So we had to follow some standards. What, even if there is any form element, apply the regular form handling mechanism of Angular. As I told you in my past classes, in the previous classes also, um, right now if I get a freelancing work on Angular JS1, even if it is $1,000, I don't do, I'm not doing it. Really, I'm not doing it. In Indian rupees it is 73,000 rupees today. On table I have that, but 1 month 73,000 rupees. But why I am not doing is the very simple, it is very difficult to understand where the code is, and especially if they're not followed any pattern, it's out of the blue. You editing or customizing that particular application or handling maintenance of that application is too difficult. But that is not the case with Angular. Even if the application developed in Angular 2, I can fix those problems in a moment or some little time maybe. But problem, I can understand the problem. Maybe writing the logic is everywhere the complicated one, but understanding the problem, where is the problem, is easier in Angular, because the practices are such a flat and everyone has to follow the same thing. That's the reason. And here, for a single purpose, you don't have multiple options. Even if they have given, they are very rigid. If you need to write routes, you have to write only in this way. If you need to write services, you have to write only in this way. Even if there are any smaller modifications, only limited. That is the beauty of forms or Angular. Angular especially, I can tell you, that is why, well, whatever the backend technology, now no one is caring. Do you know Angular? Do you know React? Any one of these technologies is becoming mandatory for everyone, right? Anyways, thanks for listening. Hope you understood what is form handling. So like this, I am going to create today a small form, and I would like to implement this disable enable activity of a button and reset activity of a button. Okay, and sending the form data to the controller, because handling the form is completely with the template. I am going to handle the entire form in the template itself. I am not going to touch any single thing, any single function or anything in the uh, TS file. Okay. Yeah. The first point is, if you want to handle forms in a template driven way, first step you have to do is go to your module file and check whether forms module is imported or not. In general, our applications don't have, I mean, in general, the Angular applications generally don't import this. So you can see the form module is not that defaultly available in Angular. I mean, my application on the desktop, that forms module is not available by default. Okay, but yes, if you really want, you have to import the forms module and include the forms module in the import section of the decorator. These two should be done. After this, you go to the component.html, in which component you want to create the form. You just directly create a form. But this entire form should have a template name. The name of the template is hash, for example, student form. This is having a template variable, but of course now the entire form is having the template variable, a variable associated with this. But it is not sufficient. You have to assign a directive called ng form. then we can start creating our form. I mean to say elements. So here I'll create input type is equal to text, and then the most important thing is whenever you create a template form you must mention the name. The name is equal to yes name. You will understand what is the importance of it very soon. Then then you have to bind a template variable to this particular input box as well. For form you have to bind a template variable, as well as every input field should have a template by variable binded. So hash student name, and this binding should be assigned with ng model. You will understand what it will do very soon. I'll just complete the procedure, and then please bind your not only to the student name, you have to bind the ng model into the input element. These are the three steps which are mandatory. So then it creates an input box. So why should I do all this procedure? Hmm. So whenever you bind this directive to the student form, what does it do is it creates an object on the name of student form. So in that object it not only have the prop values, it will also have some other information also. What type of the information? Like whether the form is valid or not, whether the form is touched or not, whether the form um, is revisited or not. These all information will be stored in the form. We'll see what type of information we are going to have it. Okay, so let us have that. I'll open it in a new tab better. Okay, yeah. Then I would like to have one more thing called placeholder is equal to placeholder is equal to enter student name. This is one. Input type is equal to text. Age is equal to s age. Sorry. Name is equal to s age, and hash student age is equal to ng model, and then bind with ng model and place holder is equal to enter student age. And then I'll create a button called save, as well as one more button called reset. I'm not applying anything, I just want to see what will be there in form, ng form and all. Ng form JSON, whatever there in the ng form, it is going to student form, because that is the name of the template. So this is what I have, and there is nothing getting changed because actually I didn't bind with any event. So let me say key up is equal to 0. Template variables don't automatically update your DOM, so you had to manually do that. still it is not showing any updates in the value, but still of course student form. um, One more thing, let me see. And sorry, key up. Very sad. Okay, let us see. Instead of student form, let us use student name. And is there anything going to get changed or not? Student name dot. It's not even showing any. Yeah, of course, pipe JSON. Let me see the error. Yeah. Actually, this is a very big uh, object. In fact, it is becoming a circular object, so directly I can't print it in the console, sorry, in the HTML page. I can put it in the console but not in the HTML page. That's the reason why it is unable to do it. That's okay. Or else if you really want to see this, you just create a button outside. You just, this is only for the checking purpose, to understand what is there in the and student form and student name template variables. When I have the click, I have to call ABC method and I'll pass student form. I'll show you what is there in the student form. That's a point. So here, oh, I have the ABC and I will be printing it. Okay. Whatever I call, I will be getting it. So when I click here, I got an object called ng form. In that object, I have so many properties along with the value. What is the value I have? S name is null and S name, S age is null and S name is also null, because I didn't have anything here. Right, now let me pass some value, Praveen and 35, and click. So now again a new object got created, and in this you have values now. S age is 35, S name is Praveen. Not only these two, you have a lot other properties also. What type of properties? How many controls are there? What is a control and how many controls are there? I have two controls here. You can individually access them. And is it dirty? What do you mean by dirty? Whether it is touched or not, I mean whether it is used or not. Now if I click on it, you can see the dirty is false. And errors, I don't have any errors also. Is it enabled? Yes. Is it disabled? No. And is it valid? Invalid? Is it invalid? False. Are you a bad boy? Answer is no, right? Are you a bad? Because if it is, it invalid? No, it is not invalid. Yeah. What is the path of it? It will say. Is it pending? Is there anything pending in it? No. Pristine, it is just opposite to the dirty. Okay. Pristine, whether it is pristine or not. The same concept has been done in many things. Dirty, touched and untouched, whether I had touched or not. Same thing, pristine, dirty will do the same job. Touched and untouched. Is it? Are you getting me? That's the point. That's the point. So even the status gives you whether it is valid or invalid. Yeah, these are the event emitters. When the ng submit gets emitted, you can call a function. The same thing I can also do by normal click also. Okay, don't worry about all this. First of all, try to understand, when we create a form in Angular, it is creating an object, and in that object, along with the value, you have so much of other information also. Sir, nowadays it's like um, it's like a beauty. For example, I just want to tell you one thing. Like in the past, if we used to order the full meals or something like that, we used to get curries, everything in the same pack, and we had to separate them in the pack itself. But nowadays, these all different curries or chapati or roti or something, those curd, everything is separated by small boxes. I mean, or else your uh, polythene papers. That is the second level. Imagine I'm sending a biryani to you, and along with that, if I also send a packet, you feel better, right? I mean, if you, even if I have any issue, you consume this. They will say, along with that, if they are providing the calorific values, how do you litmus test paper whether it is correct or not? And if someone orders a pizza, it is delivered as a hot one, right? It is not getting delivered completely uh, what is a cold or something like that. It is delivered when it is hot. So we are taking care of it. The same way, when you call a function or when you are creating something, just having that point is very old. Now along with that, you have so much of other information also. If you want to use it for that particular information, you need not to do some other belly dance or some other Congo dance. I mean to say, you have to write lot of code, man. That is nothing but a dance for me. So automatically my Angular is creating all those information. According to your use it. So now I would like to use this information to disable and enable this save button. Okay. So but by default my ng form is valid. Yes or no? It is true. Okay. Okay, right. Now, but if it is not touched, then the save button should not be activated. If it is not touched, the save button should not be activated. So how do I follow this? Let me close it. How do I do it? So here let me create a break so you can see this. Yeah, break. And I will remove. Okay, no, I don't remove the click button. Let it be there. Give me a minute. Sorry. Yeah. So by default, it shows as a valid but valid button, but I want to disable it. When I want to enable that, if I have touched and valid, okay. So first, if I touched only, then it should be valid. Okay, it should be enabled. So, but I don't have enabled property. I have only disabled property. Yesterday I was directly assigning with attribute. That was the issue. Disabled is equal to disabled is equal to, where is that valid or invalid value, or where is the touched value? This is there in the student form. It is there in the student form, right? So student form dot touched. If it is not touched, it returns false. So when it returns false, disabled is false, so it will be enabled. Okay, so we have to apply not. So now by default this button is disabled. Just to do this job in normal JavaScript, you definitely take more than 1 hour. Writing the code takes a lot of time, but here how simply it is happen. And then, okay, the next very beautiful thing is, if you have applied some of the HTML5 um, validations, they can be identified. For example, I said this student name is required. Once again, let me show you. Until and unless I touch it, it is invalid, right? Until and unless I touched it, the save button will not be activated. If I touch it, that means you have touched the form, so it is automatically enabling it, but I have not entered any name in it. So even so, by just touching it should not be activated. If I have filled the forms, form values, only then it should be activated. So how can I make it possible? I had to first make it required. So now these two form fields are required. It is not now, even disabled should also be not only touched. I had to say, see this. I had to change the pattern. Student form dot valid. You just check it out. I'll remove this button. Oh, I am applying it to, yeah, okay. Don't put any validation or anything like that. Just try to understand what is the student form will be having. By default, the student form is going to be false. Validity is false, and even if you see the change status, it is invalid. If you, because I have applied my HTML5 validations. So if you have applied some validations, it will be having that aspect. So now the point comes, what? So here I can enable this. Disabled is equal to not, sorry, not student form dot enabled. Sorry, student form dot valid. So now see this. Till I enter something. Till I enter something, the save button is not activated. If I remove it now, automatically the save button will be disabled. Is it not real time? Immediately it's doing that. So such a feature is available in Angular. Is it good? Yes, sir. Not only that, you can have so many validations. Whatever the regular form validations are there, all those are available. Yeah, number validation, maximum value, minimum value, patterns. You can apply the pattern also. Patterns are also possible. Now this is one part of the template forms. But suppose if I don't enter something, I should have some communication, right? Please enter student age. Like that. I don't know why it is not disabled. Why it is not enabled. I should get some interactivity. So for that, we can't do that with the form. We have to do with respect to the respective input element. So even input element also binded with the student age, a template variable. Is it okay? Both are required, but when there is an error, you should say some text over here. So here I will write some division. Please enter the student age. So by default it is coming up. Please enter the student age. It should not be visible. Only when there is any error it should be visible. But how? Yes sir. Even the student age template property also carries some information. Let us see this. Student age. What will be there in the student age? If I click it, it is now having an object of ng model. That is why we are having this ng model. If you don't supply this, it cannot create an ng model, and you have to bind the template variable to this, because within the template whatever the values or whatever the object you want to use, you have to make use of this template variable. Okay, so in the, okay, this is the object name, and the name of the object is age, as well as you see all the properties: dirty, disabled, enabled, and errors. Yes, now I have an error here. Okay, suppose if I have entered something and clicked, now in this I don't have errors, I have null. So when there is any error, you have to you can enable it. When there is no error, you need not to enable it. Am I clear? So how to do that? Very simple. See, star ng if is equal to, if student age dot errors is not equal to null. This is my condition. If it is not equal to null, then show that please enter the student age. Yeah, what happened? If I enter this, immediately it is getting removed. Okay, I can apply one more condition, that is min length. Okay, not min, length. I have min. Do I have min? Yeah, min is equal to, minimum is equal to 18. Okay, so here I have, suppose, imagine if I click directly now, the error, do I have an error? Required. And suppose if I have enter 17 and click, do I have any error in it? No error at all. Min is not working, or min length is okay. Okay, fine. Yeah, this minimum length I am getting is required 2, and actually I have only 1. As soon as I have entered 3, that error gone away. But I want to print the respective. Okay, I hope you understood, right? As soon as I felt you guys are getting, I immediately shift into the next point. So hopefully, like, you understood how to handle the errors by using this form, template forms. Okay, the same way you have a reset button, where when we click on the reset button, we can call the reset function like this. For example, and I click on this reset button, I can call, what is the name of the function? What is the name of the total form? Student form dot reset. You just see this. And I feel it's really good. It's very, very important feature, reset form. Okay, that's it. That's it for today. I want you to implement few more things. You need to write the logic. Template variables concept is over. Okay, you need to write the logic on template variables, like by default this please enter the student age, by default the please enter the student name should not be there. If I don't touch it, it should not be visible. As soon as I get a Google form or any registration form, do I get all the errors? It's not, it don't look.
No.
Yeah, yeah. So that, yeah, you use different divisions and use ng if, and every different error has a different aspect. For example, if I click on it now, the error is required is equal to true. Okay, and if I have entered
Yes.
one, and if I click now, I mean the error is different now. When the error dot min length, yes, yes, errors dot min length will be there. Okay, so use them, start using that object. First of all, you should get the feel of object, and then we'll see this understanding. And ng submit we can call directly ng submit. Uh, okay, we can first test it, as well as please try for a pattern. You can directly apply pattern, regular expression pattern over there. Even that will throw some errors. First letter, especially password. Okay, I may form a new assignment today, or else whatever, Rasika, you must be having the assignment already because they have been given to you, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
if you share that assignment in a mail form, that will be a great help to me. Okay, I will share with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, chalo, that's it. I hope you can do that assignment with this template forms now.
Yes.
Rasika, any doubts?
Yes. Yes. No. No, sir.
Okay, okay, thank
I
you.
will ask you
Yeah.
if coming.
Tomorrow we are going to deal with the reactive forms. Sir, now we are almost
Okay.
all coming into a conclusion. Okay, what are there in Angular? Whatever after reactive forms, everything is architectural aspect. With this knowledge,
Okay.
you are supposed to implement everything. Remaining things are architectural. How do you combine some of the components? How do you combine some of the services? How do you group, separate the routes? Okay, yeah, one more fundamental aspect is also there, that is called as custom directives. I had to tell you, but remaining things are all from here. The next few days they are all going to be architectural aspects, most of the architectural aspects. So you now you have to practice it, and we have to start an application. Okay, okay,
Yes.
and even
Yes.
today this is also fine because you have it already. I have done template forms means we have done it. Okay, so let us see tomorrow what are reactive forms. Thank you. Bye bye.
Okay. Bye bye.